Is your diagnosis a danger to you? Hey everyone, I'm Baba Sam. Let's talk about the dangers of diagnosis today. So I've been diagnosed with a lot of things over my life, from bipolar to migraines to arthritis. But one diagnosis really stopped me in my tracks. The last diagnosis I got was multiple sclerosis. And MS is a disease, that isn't diagnosed with one test. It's a process of exclusion. So when I was diagnosed with MS, about 3 weeks earlier, I had the worst migraine of my life. My eyesight was bad. My eyes were jumping around. The whole left side of my body was numb. I had all these issues and problems. So after a few weeks, this doctor that was filling in for another doctor comes in to do his rounds, and he's just talking to me. He's like, "Oh, we've concluded that you have MS. You're going to be okay. You're going to send you to rehab." And that was it. And he promptly walked out of the room. That you have MS, but you'll be okay. We're sending you to rehab. At that time, I couldn't walk. I couldn't see. I was really a mess. And all the information at that time, 20 years ago, a lot of people with MS did not fare well. They would end up, disabled, nursing home, wheelchair, all these things, and you really don't know how to process this. So it can really, it really made my bipolar unstable. It just sat there crying, that I have MS, I have this forever, my life is over. And we believe all this conventional wisdom about MS, fibro, cancer, whatever it may be. We take this conventional information as our truth, or we identify and attach to that label. I am bipolar. I have MS. I have arthritis. I have migraines. And we're identified with that, forgetting who we really are, that we are the one that sees through the eyes, the consciousness, the spirit, the soul. So we can really dive down into this rabbit hole, and we will in a moment, but we get this conventional wisdom from these diagnoses. But we never take the time. We always say, okay, I was diagnosed with fibro. And we start looking up, treatment of fibro. And we typically get all this conventional wisdom. Treatment of cancer, all this conventional wisdom. We rarely Google how to heal MS naturally, or people that have recovered from MS. There are a few of us out there, people that has also recovered from fibro, from everything you can imagine. People have recovered from this, but we consider, oh, they're the outliers. They're the lucky ones. And all these stories, and it's just simply not the case. So let's dive into this rabbit hole, that we really attach to this flesh as us, but we're really soul, consciousness, spirit, the one who sees through the eyes. And that spirit, that soul is untouched by the human condition, that this body is our vessel to allow us to experience being a human, or wherever planet you're going to be on, because we're not the only life form. There's other planets, there's other beings, there's other forms out there that consciousness takes. Because consciousness is everywhere, there's no place where consciousness is not, or source energy, whatever you wish to call it. It's everywhere. It's prevalent everywhere. We're in this, but we really attach to the conventional wisdom that this is incurable. I can't get rid of this. I'm stuck with this for the rest of my life. It's simply not the case. It's not true. And I see this in my healing circles, taking somebody with fibro and like an 8-9 level pain. And when I work with them, quieting the mind, going into this deeper place of their soul, their spirit, that 9, that 8 will come down to like a 4, a 3, and just keep getting lower. It tells me that there's a mental component there keeping things in place. But we just simply need to remember, yeah, my body was diagnosed with this, but that doesn't define me. I'm seeing the body has this, but I'm not the body per se. The body just allows me to have my experience. And ultimately, we need to realize too is that my I chose to have MS, to have arthritis, to have migraines. At some deep level, I chose to have that experience. Because every experience, in my other video I talk about this, that there are no mistakes, that we're choosing to have this experience, that our soul, our spirit is creating this experience for our growth, our expansion. So I see that being diagnosed with MS was really helpful to me. It forced me to go within and know who I really am, to see that I have thoughts, but I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my beliefs. I'm not my opinions. I'm the greater essence. But we need to slow it down and realize who we are. So diagnosis can be dangerous if you allow your mind to take a story about that defines you, and it's reading that conventional wisdom. But we need to realize we are soul. We can do all things. There's nothing that we cannot do. It's just the mind creating limitations. And you may have some physical limitations as well, but they don't have to define you. People born without legs are living a vibrant, healthy life. They haven't allowed that story to define them. And yet there are some people without legs that did allow that to define them, and they're living a miserable existence. So it's really about our perception on how we see things, that there's no mistakes, that on some level I chose to have this experience for my expansion, my growth, because eventually this body will drop away. My soul, my spirit will continue on. We will always exist as consciousness. Energy cannot be destroyed, and we are that energy. So we need to just relax, to pause, and see what is best for you, that you inhabit the body. So what's best for the body? Only you know the exact answer. Others can give educated guess based on their experience, but just a guess. No one can really say for sure that this will work for you. That's why you have like all these different types of medications, like numerous medications for migraines, MS, whatever it may be. There's numerous medications because you don't know how the body's going to respond. Every body responds differently. But one thing that doesn't change is that consciousness within you, untouched by this human experience. So just relax. We don't necessarily want to ignore the diagnosis. This is an indication, the body needs some help. And as my mental interference, this story, making it worse. And Deepak Chopra said, what did he say about diagnosis, Deepak Chopra? Basically, accept the diagnosis, but not the reality of the diagnosis. Don't allow yourself to get trapped and attached to that label. And I'm seeing all these people like in the migraine support groups, thousands upon thousands, 60,000, 70,000 members with chronic migraines. They're all taking a conventional approach, and they're all amplifying the traditional approach and stepping outside the box into spirit, where all things are possible. The place of miracles is from within. Your spirit creates miracles, and the mind's creating this interference that's blocking miracles and keeping things in place. All right, I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. Take good care of yourself, honor you, develop that relationship with yourself. Bye for now.